a guy floating off it. Sorry.
Hey, that's all. No.
Let's start off with, and just keep writing whatever we...
Use that pen. Use a cross pen.
Now, in this case, we start off, guy is fixed. Okay?
So floating. Bought an option to change it. No, we are doing that. We are saying the guy is floating. We are doing.
If he's floating, it's like this.
No.
Floating is like this.
Okay, is he fixed or not? Okay.
He's fixed right
to
now.
start with, but he can always swap his position.
No,
right?
then he bought a swaption to change it to floating. Okay. If he exercises the floating, then his
next thing would have been like this. Floating would make his exposure
Draw
like
that line.
this.
How would it make it?
No, because obviously once you're on floating,
As interest rate falls, your value is getting added.
Your value is getting added from your original rate, yeah?
You're on what? You're floating.
Suppose you're on floating. Just to float, you are simply floating.
You weren't fixed initially.
I'm initially fixed.
But then you're switching.
That's what I'm saying. Initially, I'm fixed.
Okay.
Therefore, this is it. Now, if the interest rate falls below this, then I exercise my option to swap to a floating.
Then it's okay. Then you just you sell a swap for floating if the interest rates go above this.
I sell a swap.
Why do you want to sell a swap? Why do you want to buy this thing?
Buy an option.
Buy an option for fixed. What I mean is sell an option. Sell an option for a swap. Sell a swap option. Part of this game. For the premium guy.
25 years, the peaks of human accomplishment within reach or already past. In the rear-view mirror, we see ourselves in awkward snapshots. The magic of childhood, the mysteries of adolescence left behind in a blur. The only assets to carry forward are from conquests in the real world. The first doctor in the family, the first engineer, the first IAS officer, or perhaps the first manager, the first MBA. 25 years from infancy to tempered manhood in a human lifespan, but a mere eye blink in the lifespan of a society, a whiff in the lifespan of an institution. How do we chart the growth of this institution in its first 25 years? To begin, we might try adjusting the rear-view mirror. An average starting salary of 5,000 rupees with the sky unlimiting. We are the best. Grandmothers now ask of the prospective groom if he has an MBA from IIMA. We prepare to receive the keys to an exclusive mansion to which we alone have been chosen for admission. To many of us, the first impact is from the building and the landscaping. An artist's delight, an architect's dream translated by Louis Kahn into mesmeric patterns of brick red, hard grey, and lush green through the sprawling campus. Telescoping corridors, giant windows opening up to the universe, and monastic domes contrast the stained and smelly corners of buildings in so many public institutions. We stare in rustic awe at the magnificence of the temple we have entered, and we hear echoes of passages from the scriptures, mingling hesitantly with the agitated observations of a generation on the fast track. Every year, some 15,000 of the country's brightest young people compete for seats in the Institute's postgraduate program in management. About 180 make it. Who are they? Why do they apply? What do we see of ourselves and the world around us to seek a career in management?
Marketplace to the company. Now, if these are the things...
The first steps in our initiation to management are fiercely competitive. We discover that the rest cannot be too different. In the classroom here, on the job, and in the marketplace when we get there. Competition, they say, like necessity, is the stoker of great effort, a prerequisite to excellence. The best of management education for the brightest in the land, if we got in, how could we possibly not do well? If others could not, how could they possibly? We have doubts, but we also have the need for conviction.
Basically, a metro crowd, you don't see very many people coming from the smallest towns and villages. You do have, but the general profile, I think, it just still attract people from the 4 major metros of India, let's face it. Or people who have studied, maybe their parents are based at another places, but then they've gone on to study at IIT or some other institutes. And income-wise, I think it still is.
It is just not true. I mean, people out here from very different backgrounds, very different educational backgrounds, very different family backgrounds. There's no such thing in the selection procedure which would make, make this some kind of an institution which caters only to, say, a higher class of society or anything like that.
Whether it's CAT or whether it's a group discussions, it's always in English. And I'm not too sure that the brightest of students who might have liked to go into good administrative positions are always necessarily good at English, whether it's vocabulary or simple communication, and whether they would be at a disadvantage given the kind of admission procedure we have. I have serious doubts about that.
And the major difference that we found here was that there are people from different backgrounds. In Sydenham, you don't find that kind of diversity in backgrounds that you find here. We came here with a lot of confidence as little boys, and I think the greatest thing that IIMA has done for us is that we've become a little more grown up, and we're going away with more confidence. So the little boys with a little confidence are going away as bigger men with a lot of confidence.
Okay, then it's okay. Then you just you sell a swap for floating if the interest rates go above this.
But
I sell a swap.
why do you want to sell a swap? Why don't you want to buy this thing?
Buy an option.
Buy an option for fixed.
What I mean
No,
is
but
sell an
selling
option. Sell an option for a swap. Sell
a
a swap option.
The far-sightedness of the founding fathers sought a rare amalgam in academic culture for the unique needs of a developing society. Kasturbhai Lalbhai, the visionary, Vikram Sarabhai, the builder, Ravi Mathai, the able helmsman. When Ravi, as he came to be called affectionately by all, stepped down from the directorship to continue as just another member of the faculty, he had set the peer group culture so vital for an academic community, the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad.
There was a sense of something being created. It was like being part of a process of a seed being put into the ground, and now you see a full-grown tree. There was a lot of questioning even at that stage of which direction the institute would go, how it would grow. Nothing was totally certain, except that one knew that there was a desire for excellence in management education. I mean,
you ask everybody, IIMA, it's always considered to be the sort of top-notch place. I mean, after Harvard, this is it.
Here was the place where the facilities and the environment for maximum professional development was available. Here was a place where I could think the way I wanted to. Here was a place where I could remain a member of the organization and yet an individual.
So in this, if you can call it the quest for knowledge, I mean, it's a cliche, I guess, but I think I was on that trip at that point of time. And so I went on to management.
Right. I think certain things one learned on one's own, and they are significant things. Like, for example, a simple thing like the importance of active listening. Now, when we were at the institute, we never really had any, it was not really part of any course. But I think listening with tremendous attention, with total sensitivity to the other person is an extremely important managerial skill. Now, a simple thing like that we learned later, and I had to learn it the hard way after I went out. Right? Another thing, for example, was, what's the importance of a mind which is absolutely free.
I am sorry, I am sorry. छोटे छोटे दो लोगों को कोई समझ ना पाए. एक लिपि, एक FPM, एक जगह से आए. All the time what got to hear is இப்படி இருக்கு, நல்லா இருக்கு, ஒண்ணு நல்லா இருக்கு.
We come from all directions, of many tongues and varied upbringing. We are held together by an aptitude from the past and a shared excitement of the future.
What made you decide to come here to do an MBA?
Well, I found that after my degree at IIT, career prospects were slightly limited to maybe production, maintenance, maybe even systems. And I hadn't really decided what kind of a career I wanted to go in for. So I thought doing an MBA would give me a lot more career options. And the second reason I thought was that
engineering education as it is seems slightly incomplete. You don't get exposed to a whole lot of aspects which you do in management, which is why I came here.
Right, okay, you mentioned this interesting point about...
This place, that way, it gives you a very good overall perspective of what a company is, how it should be run, and general awareness about the corporate scenario in India. And I feel, if anything, it has only strengthened my belief that
the jobs which you get after a management degree are definitely much better paying than jobs which you get after engineering.
Perhaps ask ourselves, what do we really mean by success? Is it just a question, is it just an economic joyride? Is it just acquisitive hedonism and you keep, getting more and more for yourself, more power, more money, and so on? Or is it something else?
Most of us come here as stars in our own right. And we realize that life is a lot of equalization in terms of opportunities given, in terms of the kind of pressures that we are able to handle. It's different in college because we are regarded as stars and we don't have to prove to anyone that we are good. But here, things are different. We have to prove to a lot of people that we are good.
So do you feel in the end it all does balance out?
Oh, very well. Very well.
Okay, thank you.
Not for us here, the spoon-feeding and the rote memorization. The Institute has relied heavily from the start on the case method, shaping independent articulation beyond the textbook.
The process that they follow out here, the case study method, has very significant advantages over the lecture method. In the sense of getting you some idea of what practicality, what real life is all about. It certainly can't show it all, but it gives you some feeling about it. And you're not really trying to discuss theory in the classroom. After all, management is all about real life. But I think the Institute is highly overrated.
What are professional managers made of? The Institute arrived at 4 ingredients for the recipe, representing 4 types of preparation for the student. Familiarity with a broad range of management problems, internalizing the value of concepts, tools, techniques for analysis, appropriate problem definition and diagnosis for planning alternative courses of action, communication skills, and for all of these to be applied in all areas of endeavor in management.
But all of them are actually intended to increase the efficiency of the sales force. So that is the basic problem that the company is facing. Very serious problem for any company.
The case method helped as an interdisciplinary device for the task. But all other methods in teaching and training were to be incorporated into the programs at the Institute. Yet, the image sticks. We associate the case method with the Institute in Ahmedabad.
In 2 years, probably I've been exposed to different kinds of situations through the case method and had a lot of theoretical exposure, which equips me much better in doing my work than if I had spent 2 years in my office.
I think it's very important to get your hands dirty. And this is a set of values that I hope this institute will sort of impart to its students. That, well, analyzing innumerable cases, finding out what's the problem, coming to a solution is only part of the story. It's really understanding the whole problem, what has gone behind it, the desire to really learn what has gone behind each problem, how did it occur.
That is not really what it is about. And the skills which are necessary are relevant to complement whatever functional knowledge we have, because without skills in dealing with people, the entire knowledge is quite pointless.
When there was a lot of opportunity for personal growth in terms of taking stock of what you are, taking stock of what you want to be, and acquiring certain skills for meeting different situations, and not just a compartmentalized view of anything which you are doing at that particular moment.
We're going to Patang. I don't know, we are right now, like, we haven't decided, but we may go to Kama or Patang. Kama is inside, it's a poolside. Poolside, but no, he said...
Will you go to the poolside without any girls,
The strength of an academic community flows from the quality of its faculty. The institution must gather the very best talent, as much to generate new knowledge as to disseminate it. We must also provide the soil and the climate for such talent to strike roots and flourish.
That was his, in a sense, byword. In everything that would happen, this is the kind of expression he would use. Somehow or the other, this particular urge to create a new culture, this particular desire to create new culture got transmitted into the faculty.
The faculty, I have no idea what it was like 10 years back. From all you hear about Vikram Sarabhai and Ravi Mathai and all, it was probably something really good 10, 15, 20 years back. But at this point of time, it is sadly deteriorated. In most areas, you don't find more than 1 or 2 faculty members who are of really any worth at all.
The faculty consists of some of the most eminent leaders in the field of management education, and they have helped us to produce over these years a very large number, over 2,000 really good managers who are holding very responsible positions in the in Indian industry, and quite a large number of them are also serving with distinction outside the country.
I don't know whether sincere efforts are being made to attract the faculty, but they're certainly not succeeding. In almost any area you go to, especially where they are taking the core courses, the first year courses, you find that whole functional areas have been destroyed for students because the faculty member taking it was either not good enough or just not interested in teaching.
Apart, of course, from excellent students like you we get from year to year, and a fairly unusually committed group of faculty that the institute has been able to get and retain. These are our strengths.
The programs at the Center for Management in Agriculture were to pave the way for an even distribution of effort over several sectors of the Indian economy. Are we just another business school aiding the business and industry sector? Or are we an Indian Institute of Management?
And then, so after repositioning in the first year, they made 1.2 million profit. After they turned around, this company was sold to ITT.
For the student, however, the disciplined analysis of a management problem remains the same. So does the process of learning. The rigorous search, the corroborations, the alternatives, the probabilities, all brainstormed, all without the crutches of precedence.
As a new competition in the field, it's not...
The analyses, of course, are only means to an end. For the immediate, that end is the grade earned in the course.
Kind of fights that go on for every extra mark, for every extra subgrade is saddening, to say the least. I don't think you're really building managers out here.
I think it's basically because the orientation that we're provided in the institute. In 2 years' time, you're taught to aim for the top management post in a company, and that's the reason why we are hoping for high-level jobs and high-flying jobs in a company.
There are exceptions.
Which is not the reality.
There is obviously no clear-cut conclusion from all this.
The bridge between theory and practice, between academic neatness and brute reality, is provided by the MDP, Mid-Career Management Development Programs for Practicing Managers. They're expected to generate genuinely two-way exchanges, with the teacher and the practitioner learning from one another. Teaching, training, consultancy, research, in conventional spheres, in sectoral programs. We seek a vocabulary, a grammar and syntax, a framework within which we might comprehend all the problems of all men at all workplaces. We seek skills, too, to match the vocabulary.
Within a bound, it's the same thing. Whether the interest rate may move within a band, outside a band.
Think here.
Okay, why don't you sell an option doing the opposite thing here?
See, you're selling an option so that you make this payment.
Don't PC. See, what you want him to do is, this is the maximum exposure. So if the interest rates are like this, you want him to be hitting the positive also. Right? You want him to be on top, even though if interest rates fall, if he gets hemmed in out here. Till this point, he's going to be making a lot of sense.
When we step out of the institute, we are seen not merely as the bearers of knowledge, but as the deliverers of goods. We carry in us a demand. We deliver to needs expressed. We recognize the mission in the professionalization of our talents. Who shall have us? Where shall we be turned on? We go where the needs are loudest.
Why is it that you come here for recruiting students for your company?
What we see here is the best of the students from all functions and all universities and all functional areas coming here. And the kind of grades which I see in the CVs in this institute, I don't think so we come across anywhere else. They are the top graders.
And very often I have asked people, for example, what is the rate of interest on the loan, or what is the interest rate on the debentures, or what is the preference dividend. I mean, this sort of some practical things which anybody should know, even by reading daily financial papers.
Been excellent. We find them very down to earth, very tuned into the realities of doing business in this country, which is a rare thing. That the general impression is that they're taught the American way.
Mobility is high. People move away from the job after working for 2-3 years.
Better we start as early as possible. It's merely a question of training yourself to do well later on, to protect your image.
So what do you...
So that's what I'm saying. Have a sound system of values for yourself.
No, that's not a question of values, Jayanti. If you feel you can do better somewhere else. And I mean, the whole world is selfish. Not just only IIM people are doing it. They're doing it because they're able to do it.
The total political ethos to which an entrepreneur or business manager at a senior level is exposed is something very different from the classroom. And I think that to that extent, one's management education does not at all prepare one for that.
An invocation, a firm resolve. We are transformed from the bystanders that we were only yesterday to active players in real engagements tomorrow. From cheery spectatorship to gritty gamesmanship. We do not ask of the ocean what gifts from its depths it lays before us, wave after wave. We ask of men what they have found on its shores.
Hopefully, I think in the next few years, you will find the Institute taking further lead, and not to speak of maintaining its high standard and the lead that it has established in this country.
In the early years, we were pioneers. We were trying to establish, whereas now that mission has very nearly been accomplished, which means now we must look for new frontiers.
Let's not forget what we have really set out to do in the Institute. More originality, which is connected with the Indian context. Why should we only have to read Harvard cases, for instance? I am aware, of course, that there are more Indian cases now. But I feel more and more people from here should perhaps end up imparting very down-to-earth concepts to people.
The question is our contribution to the society at large, considering the kind of problems that this nation is facing, that the world is facing, is that kind of contribution really happening or not in this regard?
One, in society, there is such a thing as Rebecca myth. Rebecca myth means that the old wife who is dead was better than the new wife. And we all believe at various stages that the olden days were the golden days, and things are deteriorating and so on. Certainly, as we see in life in general, one can notice deterioration, but that does not really disturb me. I believe this institute has a basic character, has a basic value system, and it is this basic character which is going to keep us going.
25 years. Is there a character formed? Recognizable? Do the old see it more clearly than the young? Where shall the image reside? In the classrooms, on the racks of the spacious library, in the hearts and minds of those encountered, or on the countenance of one yet unblinkered?
We are supposed to be the elite, the cream de la creme of Indian youth.
Do you think IIMA is an elitist institution?
Short answer, yes. The place prides itself on making the management elite for the country. The students have beaten a lot of people to come in here. The students have been the top 1% in their schools, colleges or universities. A lot of people with public school backgrounds here. A lot of people who leave this place feel they are from the best management institute in the country. IIMA is an elitist institution.
I don't think that it is that elitist as what it is accepted to be amongst the students community before one enters into IIM, because I have radically changed my views after getting admission over here.
And given the way that all of us interact out here and things like that, it's just not true.
Basically, I'm a veterinarian, but just being a plain veterinarian, it doesn't suffice the purpose.
In terms of atmosphere, again, it's this atmosphere that you expect in any elite institution. And
Okay, this brings up a very interesting concept that which you're saying that like any elitist institution, so are you of the firm opinion that IIMA is an elitist institution, and if so, why?
Elitism, alienation, social relevance. Strong words, bold questions. If we cannot pose them, who will? Are we alienated? Are we relevant? Is the IIMA, or shall we dare to ask, the IIM system a success? Do we have the tools of analysis to answer the question? Will we have them in the next 25 years?